So, are you ready for a journey into medieval chemistry? Wait, don't get scared. This doesn't mean you're going to cook something in a cauldron like Harry Potter, who accidentally made troll soup. Today, we're going to talk about the Philosopher's Stone. Oh yes, this is the same artifact that was supposed to be able to turn metal into gold and grant eternal life. Sounds like a Marvel superpower, right?
I think it's good, except it sucks.
But in fact, it's closer to the scenario of the TV series Breaking Bad. Only instead of methamphetamine, it's gold. And instead of Walter White, it's a bearded alchemist in a robe. Did you know that medieval alchemists were real dreamers? Their obsession with turning the ordinary into the extraordinary is reminiscent of modern startups. Only instead of artificial intelligence, they had artificial gold. Imagine an alchemist's Facebook post. Spent 12 hours in the lab today. The result? Everything exploded, but my boiler looks like new. If you dream of gold too? Why did the Philosopher's Stone even appear in the dreams of medieval scholars? It's not just a simple, I want it all and now. Imagine a world where gold isn't just a valuable metal, but actual currency. Not crypto, not paper money. Shiny pieces you could carry in your pocket and literally buy a kingdom with. The problem, there was always too little gold. And then the alchemists were like, hey, what if we make more? Their logic was about as sound as ours when we think we can lose weight in a week just by eating salads. They believed that if you heated, mixed, and prayed long enough, even lead could turn into gold. And who could blame them? It sounds so cool, turning your garage into a wealth-producing factory. Or, well, into a lab for failed experiments, like in Breaking Bad. Alchemists even wrote a bunch of treatises about their research. But reading them is like trying to decipher an IKEA manual written in ancient Greek. For example, imagine a recipe like this. Take solar energy, mix it with the moon, and heat it over the fire of wisdom. Sounds more like a spell from Harry Potter than serious science. Still, that didn't stop them from searching for answers. The most famous among them, Nicolas Flamel, even became a legend. And yes, he's the one mentioned in Harry Potter.
Of course, here it is. Nicolas Flamel is the only known maker of the Philosopher's Stone.
What?
But sadly, he never actually created a Philosopher's Stone, though his legend is so strong that some tourists still search for his house in Paris, hoping to find gold there. So, alchemy was a mix of science, art, and a touch of magic. The quest for the Philosopher's Stone was like a journey for Sauron's ring, dangerous, long, and ultimately futile. But this is just the beginning of our story. Want to know what would have happened if they actually found the stone? Get ready, because the next part will definitely surprise you. So, the first idea. Everyone is rich and it's wonderful. Well, not exactly. If anyone could turn any metal into gold, it would immediately lose its value. Imagine walking into a coffee shop, handing the barista a gold bar, and she's like, is this a joke? Our milk costs more than this. Essentially, we'd end up with golden trash. Remember Game of Thrones? In that world, gold equals power. But here, a golden throne just collects dust because the king now eats off plastic plates, which, by the way, are worth more than his treasures. The only real winners in this scenario? Those who invested in something tangible, like water or electricity. Now let's talk about eternal life. Imagine no wrinkles, no illnesses, and your biological age is just a number. But think about it again. No aging means no change. The world starts to feel like an endless Groundhog Day. People work the same jobs for centuries, with no career changes because no one dies or vacates a position.
Sometimes I feel like everyone I work with is an idiot. And by sometimes, I mean all times. All the time. Every of the time.
Another issue? Overpopulation. Picture rush hour in the subway, except now that rush hour lasts 24/7. And what if there's not enough food or water? It's no longer eternal life. but eternal struggle for survival. Okay, let's imagine we've solved all those problems. Then we're left with moral questions. Is it even worth living forever? Remember how Voldemort in Harry Potter kept trying to cheat death? How did that work out for him? Want another example? In the picture of Dorian Gray, the protagonist also sought eternal youth, and we all know how that ended. So maybe aging and making room for the new isn't such a bad thing after all. But there's also a positive side. Eternal life could be a breakthrough for science. Imagine a 200-year-old scientist working on solving global issues. No more, didn't have enough time to finish, because time would be abundant. But here's another question. Would we want to live in a world where people, resistant to change, control everything? What about those who would use their long lives to hold back progress? Sounds a bit like the antagonists from Marvel movies, doesn't it? So, the Philosopher's Stone could have changed the world forever. But is humanity ready for such changes? It's not just an opportunity. It's a huge responsibility. What do you think? Could we handle such a discovery? Share your thoughts in the comments, and now let's discuss how alchemy has influenced modern science. You're probably thinking, okay, so the Philosopher's Stone wasn't found and no one's turning scrap metal into gold. So what? Now, imagine the flip side. This crazy idea of the alchemists actually helped lay the foundation for modern science. That's right. Without their efforts, we might still be warming ourselves by a fire, debating whether oxygen even exists. So how did alchemy play its part? Sit back and get comfortable. I'm about to explain everything. Let's start with the obvious. Alchemy laid the foundation for chemistry. Remember all those bubbling flasks, explosions, and jokes about trying to make gold? In reality, those experiments led to the discovery of things we use every day. For example, the distillation methods that alchemists refined in their experiments are now used to produce pure alcohol. And yes, I'm talking about the key ingredient in your favorite cocktails. Another example? Scientists like Robert Boyle, who in the 17th century said, okay, alchemy is cool, but let's leave out the magic, and kick-started the chemical revolution. Imagine if he hadn't decided to prioritize experiments over mysticism. Modern pharmacists might still be praying before making aspirin, instead of simply synthesizing it. And now, let's move on to something more intriguing. Alchemists didn't search for the Philosopher's Stone just for gold. They believed they could uncover universal truths, unlock the secrets of nature. And this is where things get really interesting. Take Paracelsus, for example, one of the most famous alchemists. He thought, hey, what if alchemy could heal people instead of just transforming metals? The result? The birth of modern pharmacology. Thanks to him, we have medicines that actually work, rather than ones that make you grow a tail, like in alchemical legends. Did you know that even the discovery of elements like phosphorus was a byproduct of alchemical experiments? Yes, one guy was trying to extract gold from human urine. Not kidding. But instead, he accidentally discovered a substance that now helps light up our homes. The moral? He didn't find gold, but he pretty much invented the light bulb. What if I told you that the ideas of alchemists even influence modern physics? Remember how they believed that everything is made up of 4 elements: earth, water, air, and fire. It sounds a bit like the introduction to Avatar, The Legend of Aang, right? But modern science has moved on. We now know that the world is made up of atoms and molecules, but the alchemist's approach to searching for the basis of everything that exists has become an inspiration for many scientists. Without this obsession with deciphering nature, we might never have come to the discovery of nuclear energy. And yes, if you think about it, the Philosopher's Stone was a kind of prototype for our modern search for a universal theory of everything. Perhaps someday we will indeed find our own version of the stone, but it will be made of formulas, not magic. So, even if the Philosopher's Stone remained a myth, the search for it was far from in vain. Alchemy, as a failed science of magic, became the mother of modern chemistry, medicine, and even physics. Although they never made gold from lead, their contribution to knowledge is invaluable. So, dear friends, we've figured out what alchemy was, how it influenced science, and even imagine what would happen if alchemists did create the Philosopher's Stone. But the main question remains. What does this all mean for us today? What lesson can we learn from this fascinating story? Let's summarize. From the perspective of modern science, alchemy was a misguided path, but that's the paradox. Sometimes mistakes lead us to great discoveries. Imagine if Edison had been afraid of failure. We might still be reading books by candlelight. Alchemists taught us not to be afraid to dream. Imagine if Elon Musk hesitated to pursue colonizing Mars because it seemed impossible. Yes, we laugh at alchemical treatises, but who knows? Maybe 300 years from now, people will look back at us and marvel at our ideas about artificial intelligence or quantum computers, and perhaps those will be our Philosopher's Stone. So, even if the real Philosopher's Stone remains a myth, this is no reason to stop. The most important thing is the way we discover new things and build the future. Now it's your turn. What is your Philosopher's Stone? What motivates you? Write in the comments. Maybe your ideas will change the world. Thank you for being with me. If you liked the video, please like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. And remember, dreams are our alchemy. See you soon.